Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mike Colleen at MikeColleen.com. All right, so now let's get to the two stories. So, all right, one of them is this. Okay, so I knew someone that I used to hang out with. And at this point, now this was over 10 years ago, so I was in my 30s. And at this point, I was starting to catch on to watch what people do to other people because they're going to eventually do it to you. And there's two things. Number one, these are the rules. If people are talking bad about other people, especially if it's one single time and one person, okay, that's cool. But if it becomes like, well, now it was this person, now the next day it's someone else, now this day it's this coffee shop person and this person over there, that's when you go, oh, this is what they do. Even if they're not a narcissist, it's just what they do. But it is a narcissistic tactic, okay? So narcissists do that. So even if they're not, I would get away from them because I promise you they're gonna do it to you. I promise you. The second thing is watch what they do to people. And that's what this video is about. I'm going to give you an example. And this is when I was like, oh, I got to get away from this person. So this person was in an industry where it had made a major change back in the 90s. And so a lot of the people got out of the industry because it was hard to make money. All right. So this person had been in the industry since the 80s or maybe the late 70s. And so there wasn't a lot of them left. And right now there's very few of them on the planet. I think there's like 5 in the United States or 7 or something like that. They are very highly wanted. And in some smaller countries, you're lucky to have one. He would get phone calls from people in Australia and in Europe saying, hey, do you know an owner or manager of this place in this country, in this city? He's like, yeah. He goes, dude, is there any way you can, blah, blah, or do you know this information? And so, I mean, he was an on-demand kind of guy. So, and I'm leading up to something. So here's what happened. So he invited me to his business. They had moved, not his business, but he was a independent contractor who was working in a building with 2 other ladies. Okay. And they were probably in there, I think the one was around 40 plus 45, And so he invited me in there one day and I said, oh, this is really cool. And then we went back. He goes, hey, I got to pick up a check because, but let's go there on the way to lunch. It's like, yeah, cool. Because it was like 1 block down, 2 blocks down. And we went in and he sat me back in his chair. He goes, here, come sit in my chair. And he leans over and he goes, hey, watch this. I'm like, watch what? Like I knew something was up. Like, whoa, what's going on? And so he goes out. Now there's a big wide entryway. It wasn't like there was a door to his office. It was more like an entryway to a living room. It was just this big wide, and then right there, about go straight forward and kind of go to the left. I don't know, about 12 feet away or 9 feet away, something like that, was another desk. But it was out front by right in front of the entry of the door, and that was where her desk was, right? And so he walks up. Now he's about 6'1.5". I don't think he's quite 6'1". Broad shoulders, big dude, 225, 230. And he just walks up and he goes, "Rah!" And he starts like, where's my money? Where's my check? It's supposed to be right now. And he's just fucking berserking. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And he kept yelling at me. All right, so he's just flipping out. So I physically get up and I run around the desk, and I physically, because he's leaning over and she's sitting down in the chair and she's like, like, what do you call this? Panicking, or if there's probably another word for it, and she's freaking out. And I grab his shoulders and I pull him off. I'm like, what are you doing? Calm down. And she goes, it's right here. The check is right here. It is here. And he goes, oh, okay. And he totally shifted. And he smiled. Okay, have a nice day. And he goes, come on, Mike, let's go to lunch. And he goes, it's on me. And I'm like, what just happened? And I told her, oh, I'm so sorry that happened. And I'm just as confused as her. Now I want you to know something before I go into what he said to me. The minute she showed him the check, he goes, oh, okay. It was like on like, rah, oh, Okay, have a nice day, right? And I was like, what the fuck? Well, that's part of the game. They're trying to fuck with you, trying to scare you on multiple levels of from extreme rage, that's terrifying enough, to, oh, okay, like you turned off the water faucet. Okay, fine, thank you, bye. It's an act. They're trying to act like they're psycho, or like it's gaslighting. It's like they scare you. Oh, okay, cool, awesome, have a nice day, and they walked out. And so we get in the car, we're going to freaking lunch, and he goes, "Wasn't that funny?" And I go, and I'm still just like I don't even know what happened. I'm still just like, what just happened? And I looked at him and go, isn't what funny? What do you, like, I'm looking outside like, what's he, because what just happened there, that was not funny. And so we're driving down the road. He goes, well, didn't you think that was hilarious? I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, when I screamed at so-and-so at the office. And he goes, flipped out. He goes, that scared the fuck out of her. And I'm like, that wasn't funny. You terrified her. I go, dude, she was literally shaking. That was the word I was looking for. She was literally shaking. I go, why would you do that? And I go, you're 6 foot something and 200 some pounds. You leaned over her. She's like, I don't know if she's 100 pounds or 110. Tiny little thing. And I'm like, why would you do that? He goes, well, it was funny. And he goes, I already knew the check was there. I saw it earlier in the day when I walked in. And that's why I went back, was to pick it up. I already knew it was there. I'm like, so you made the whole thing up? He goes, yeah, it was funny. I go, dude, that wasn't funny. So I'm shocked. I'm like, what was that? Why would you do that? And so we're eating lunch, and he's like, now we're on to the next phase in life. Like, he just, it was nothing to him. And so I had said, I think we were eating, and I finally kind of came to my wits, and I finally go, I don't understand. What just happened? Why would you do that? He goes, well, he goes, it was funny. I'm like, no, that wasn't funny. He goes, I go, do you realize like how scared she was? Oh yeah, she was really scared. And I'm like, what? Like, so like, I thought maybe something was a little weird. Like, he didn't realize how much he scared. He goes, no, I know. I scared the fuck out of her. And I'm like, are you mad at her for something? He goes, no. I'm like, so why would you do that? He goes, because it was funny. This is a grown man, older than me, right? Probably the age I am now. Because again, this happened about, 10 years ago, 12 years ago. I don't remember exactly when. And I'm looking at this guy like, something's not right. Now I see it's a narcissist. They have fun doing shit like this. They don't always do it with this. Well, yeah, I think they kind of do. I'm not gonna qualify that right now. So I'm gonna tell you what came of it. So I said, I don't understand. So then I go, so why don't they fire you? Because at this point, I didn't quite understand, where he was at in the business. I thought he worked for them. He goes, they can't. I'm like, well, why can't they? I go, dude, you're harassing the shit out of him. Because he's been doing this for a while. And he goes, because I'm an independent contractor. I'm like, so are you on the lease for that office? He goes, no. So why don't they kick you out? He goes, they can't. I'm like, well, why can't they? He goes, well, and he explained the whole thing about the industry. He goes, well, I've been in the industry this long. They've only, they started this business like 8 years ago, or I don't forget how many years ago. Maybe it was 5 years ago, but however long ago. And he goes, they don't have the contacts that I have, and they don't have the knowledge that I have. And without me, they go out of business. And I was like, oh, okay. And so then he said, what did he say? He goes, Michael, that's what you do. I go, what do you do? You're going to learn something real powerful about what narcissists are doing to trap you. He goes, you find something that they absolutely need to survive. It could be money. It could be information. It could be, a skill that they don't have but they need. What was the other thing? I forgot what he said. I can't remember. And he goes, and then you can use it against them, and they can't get rid of you, and then you can do whatever you want. And he didn't use the word terrorize, but that's what he meant. Then you can terrorize them. And I'm thinking, I go, why would you do that? He goes, I don't know. I like to. And I'm just like, this guy's a fucking psycho. Like, this doesn't make any sense to me. He had no reason. He wasn't mad at them. They didn't do nothing wrong. It was just fun. It just like he literally got a rush off of it. So this is a narcissistic trait, is what they do. And that's why they're asking about your history. Like, do you need money? You know, do you need more clients? And that's what they'll do. They'll get you clients. They'll do whatever and they will work really fucking hard. And sometimes it's just, you like to be treated a certain way. No one treats you that way. Maybe it's, trying to think what else. He got me a lot of trips. I'm going to say that. And it was fun to travel because he had like the deals of the century because of his position. But that didn't work on me because that was like, I didn't really give a shit. Like, you know, I traveled quite a bit in my life, especially because of sports. But the point is, it didn't work on me. That's one of the things with me. I'm lucky I'm not a money hungry person. Is money doesn't work on me. And that's another thing. That's what he started to do in the beginning. He would pay for all the lunches and all the dinners, and he would like buy me things. Like, I'm looking something at the mall. It's like, yeah, it's kind of expensive. Here, no, I buy it. You know, like, no. After I'm like, no, dude, it's totally okay. Like, what the fuck, right? But that's the love bombing phase, man. They're gonna suck you in. But the thing is, like, again, that didn't get me because I'm not a materialistic guy. It doesn't work on me. I don't give a shit. And so that's one of my blessings, is they can't use it against me. Now those ladies, they put up with him for about another year. I think it was 2 years, and they closed shop, and they went and worked for someone else, or they joined forces with another business, and so they had to get rid of him. All right, and so here's the really weird thing that's gonna fucking make you go, what? Okay, he was upset. Like, he goes, why would they do that? Why would they close shop and get rid of me? I'm like, really, man? Really? And because they think they're so special. Like, how could someone do that to me? And this is what I mean. It's like that guy was saying. He goes, I have as much in common with you as I do with a freaking long-necked giraffe. They're literally saying, we are not like you. We don't think. We don't function. Our heart system, we're not like you. So we don't think like you. And so if you can understand a narcissist for why they are the way they are, then you can have an understanding of them. But if you look at them as another normal human being, it won't make any sense. Okay. So he ended up working for another business, and he invited me over there. Okay. Cause it was years later. Cause I stopped talking to him. And again, I wasn't onto the whole hoovering and the whole like, oh, I'm totally different. Oh yeah, I've changed, you know, because I didn't talk to him for about, I think it was 2 years or more. And he came back, didn't have any friends, but at the time I didn't really, I always thought that was weird. Like, why doesn't he, you know, he was born and raised here. Why doesn't he have any friends? And that was really weird to me. And that's a sign, I'm telling you, if someone doesn't have friends where they live, if they've been there more than 6 months or a year, they don't have friends, something's not right. All right. So again, he brought me over to the office. Remember the first time I went there, like, it was icy, really icy. Again, I didn't know what I know now about narcissists. And I'm like, what's going on? He's like, they're just that way. Fuck them, you know. And I'm like, okay, well, you know, because I go, wow, like, why would you work here? Like, fuck this. And so I went there one day. We were going to go to lunch, and I walked in. And I looked down the hall. At the very end of the hall is a meeting, and he's sitting like here at the end of the table, and you can see everyone else was like this. Like, you could tell they were just like miserable. And there was no rapport there at all. Nobody had rapport. Now, I'm an NLP trainer, so there's actual ways you can tell that there's actual rapport. So if you're an NLP dude and you've done the rapport skills, you matching and mirroring, you know what I'm talking about. But there was no rapport there at all. And I was like, something. I even told him, dude, something's not right. They don't like you. No, man, it's on your head. I'm like, dude, I'm trying to tell you, like, I think you're on the outs and you don't know it. I go, I'm telling you, they don't like you. Like, because I went in there another time to pick up a package. And it was the same thing. Like, the lady across from him just was like, and I said hello, and she wouldn't even look at me. And I'm like, what the fuck's going on here? Like, something was up. So he did this little thing, and that's what they were doing. They were waiting for him to do something to where they could legally kick him out. And he did. He gave him the perfect excuse, and they booted him. And he goes, can you believe that? Over that little tiny thing? I'm like, well, it's against the rules, right? He goes, oh yeah, it's against the rules. He goes, but you know, blah, 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 blah. And so I'm like, they didn't kick you out for that, dude. They kicked you out for all the bullshit and the nightmare hell that you've been putting them through, right? And you really think so? I'm like, oh my God, yes. So again, I didn't really understand narcissists, but I understood there's something's just wrong with this dude. Like something's wrong. And I'll tell you another thing about him. Um, Another thing happened within a week or weeks of this was his family had told him, "Don't ever come back. Don't ever, you're not going to be invited to any of the Christmas parties or nothing." He goes, "We're fucking sick of it," because he was always pulling shit. He was always hurting people, embarrassing them, and just terrorizing people. He goes, "Oh my god, can you believe that?" And I'm kind of looking at him like, "Do you not see a pattern here? What do you mean?" And this is where I mean like, that narcissists aren't smart. And you think I'm being mean? I'm not. I'm just trying to explain to you because your mind. You look at them like, well, let's see, you burn their house down and you don't understand why you're not invited back to the Christmas party. I mean, you did it on purpose. You brought gasoline and you poured it around the perimeter of the house and you almost burned everyone alive. Like, you really don't. He didn't do that, but you get my point. It's like he was doing some horrendous things. So, okay, if someone is talking shit about people, like more than one person one time, if they do it multiple times and it's kind of a consistent thing, it doesn't have to be every day. Well, with my last one, it was not only every day, it was every single place. I mean, everyone, even the people that, oh, these are my friends, Mike, I want to, it wasn't even his coworkers, because when we went there, he saying, this is a different person. And I looked at him like, dude, this guy is like, he's talking shit about everyone. You don't think word's going to get around. And word gets around. And that's the thing about narcissists. They don't think it does for some reason. They think that everyone's going to live in fear. And a lot of people do. They won't say anything to anyone, right? So, number one, if they're talking shit multiple times, get away. Even if they're not a narcissist, I'm telling you, it's going to turn on you. Number two, watch how they treat people. If they're doing weird shit or like what the fuck shit, get away, because they're going to start doing it to you. Um, all right, so I'm going to put the next story in the next video because this was a real life experience where the same guy told me something that opened my eyes to putting another piece of the puzzle together that really helped me start seeing what was going on. All right, remember, click subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.